Welcome to Coastal Conservative News, where we don't edit your voice, mute your opinion, or bow to political pressure. Last week, we interview a man who has shaken national headlines just by speaking out. His name is Ryan Williams, better known online as Big Bacon, a blunt, unapologetic commentator who calls out extremist ideologies and refuses to censor himself to please governments or gatekeepers. Big Bacon has built a massive following exposing radical Islam's influence in Western politics, and he's paid a price for telling the truth. From media censorship to airport detentions, his voice has triggered institutions that would rather silence him than debate him. In CCN, he is unfiltered, uncut, and not back down. So let's get into it. Hi guys, Allie and Michelle here. We've got a wonderful exclusive interview with Ryan Williams. Now, some of you might not know who Ryan is. He goes by the, am I saying this right, Ryan? The Scottish Korean? Is that what you go by?
Yeah, well, I know Ryan Williams is the most Korean sounding name you'll ever hear. But, a lot of people look at me. It's just like, not what we expected him to look like, but he will do.
Definitely not what we expected him to sound
But we'll
like.
take him.
We like it.
We like it. We're here for it. So you have to tell me, we saw an interview of you on Sky TV network, and apparently I thought it was brilliant. There was some, obviously because we here in America, we love free speech. I might not agree with everything somebody says, but the ability to say it, once you box your feelings in and you don't have that tender, delicate external skin, it's fun to have free debate, free dialogue. And you do that better than anybody. But I guess the Sky TV News crew and their network didn't like it so much. Tell us what happened when you appeared on that show.
Well, I don't know what they were expecting. It's not as if I hide my opinions at all, I kind of start off saying, look, I may be hung like a chipmunk, but I've got enough balls to fight Islam. So, I'm a half-naked Korean guy wearing bacon on my shoulders. Do they really think that I was going to come on and talk about, I don't know, trans rights? I just don't know what they expected. I think they should really be upping their due diligence a little bit.
Well, I have to agree with you. So you have to tell me. You did. We'll show parts of the clip as B-roll footage while we're doing this. But I want to know. Okay, so you had on your shirt. At first, I thought they were two stripes, like how you have pinstripes on shirts.
Yeah.
And then I looked, and I'm like,
he's got bacon on right now.
Got a little bacon.
Look his hair. I love it.
Allie says it better not be what?
It better not be. It can only be Smithfield. It can't be like organic bacon.
Why?
Because Smithfield is owned by the CCP, and we're trying to get rid of them.
So you only can use that for your shoulders?
Yes.
Got it. Okay, but tell our viewers, for those that maybe aren't putting it together,
I know
why you have the bacon.
I am not CCP. A lot of people accuse me of being a North Korean spy, and I just go, I wish I was that smart. I wish, but
well, listen, Korea and China are not the same. Definitely not.
Yeah, right.
Hello. So those people.
We're like your more Pikachu-friendly version, of China. I was gonna think like Japan. Yeah, we're kind of more of these kind of Asians. You're loving Asians. We were saved by America. I'd be speaking Japanese if not for the Americans. I always try to say that America, thank you very much. 37,000 soldiers died in America during the Korean War, often called the Forgotten War. And those veterans, I owe my life, my entire family's life, and generations of Koreans to come. So those veterans, I will always stand up for you guys. Always grateful, and thank you so much.
Well, I love that. So Allie's a veteran, but part of what you fought for is to be able to have your free speech, at least in this country. But when you show up on this news network, Sky TV, and you have bacon strapped to your shoulders, they asked you why. So go ahead and tell our viewers. Tell the viewers why.
Well, I criticize Islam because I've got an IQ of over 70. So I think that's the start. And number two, I think as human beings, we have general principles all around the world that we don't abide by. We don't like child pedophilia. We don't like child marriage. We don't like murder. We see people as equal, and we live in a meritocratic society. Islam, their prophet Muhammad, married a 6-year-old, Aisha. Hadith 5134. Sahih al-Bukhari. I often say Sahih al-Bukhari, but that's another time. Well, I mean, it is a pretty much bukkake-filled 72 virgins worshipping religion. It's very good if you're a low IQ, inbred man with no prospects in life and you hate women, then if you're very gay, then of course you want your woman to be covered head to toe in a letterbox, that burqa.
Yeah.
It's
Oof.
ridiculous. So
Yeah.
listen, I'm not some. I'm just your very average, normal guy. That if we're having a barbecue, all the guys are just saying this. I mean, most of us just kind of go, "This is bullshit." Let's just say it for what it is. It's just
Yeah.
we're calling it bullshit, and you say the obvious, you say the truth. You quote the Hadith and the Quran. I even studied a bit of the Musnad. Now that's really spicy stuff. That's where you get into Al Zut territory, where he got, 30 men of Al Zut to, give him the spunk he needs to get the power of 30 men. But I can
Oh
just,
yeah, we
it's
just
true.
ate. I know. You're welcome.
Yeah, well, yeah, it depends on what you ate, but he ate that something last night, for 30 Yazoo men, and now he's got a strength of 30 men. So, look, it's a pretty gay religion. Let's just put it that way. You hate women, they hate women, they treat them like shit, and children are what they're, you know, idolizing. As soon as you stop menstruating, you're available for sex and breeding. It's just a nonsense.
That's
And it
terrible.
comes from their prophet Muhammad, who was a warlord of 83 wars. And he
Right.
has sex slaves. Jesus is the complete opposite. You
Exactly.
couldn't cancel Jesus today. What a lovely man. Just as a
Yeah.
general rule, if you're behaving like a dickhead, you could, and if you're a Christian, another Christian can come up to you and say, that Jesus would not, he would just say, please just don't do that. And if
Right.
somebody does something egregious to you, that our leader, Jesus, he'd be like, just forget it. If he was around today, just come on, just focus on the good sides. And if it was Prophet Muhammad, right, gonna shag your sister
Yeah. Yeah.
and then stone her
Well,
to death.
and this is the thing, and I don't know if I should call you Scottish Korean or if I should call you Ryan Williams or if I should call you Ryan. So I'm gonna call you all of the above. But
Big bacon. It's
bacon.
I'm trying
Wait,
to
what
get
did
that
he
as a
say?
trend. Big bacon.
Big
bacon.
Okay,
Big
big
bacon.
bacon. I gotta say something then.
Yeah.
So all we're doing here is we're having a dialogue about world religions. And literally, this has been it's just like with the trans and LGBTQ community. You're largely not allowed to either ask questions or push back or criticize or ask, you know what, you don't get to control my speech about it. God bless you for what you believe, but my mouth is very much mine. And as long as it is, I get to decide what comes out of it. So you saying what you said, what you said, I'm just floating over it. That's okay. What you said on Sky TV Network was really just your opinion. They not only closed down the show, they removed them from the entire network. And this young girl that's the head of it, she was advertised as a firebrand who was going to bring this exact type of dialogue,
right?
So, did it shock you that wearing bacon on your shoulders, which you said during the show, is because you've had threats of violence and beheading, and you know that the Muslim faith will not go near bacon?
It's like garlic to a vampire.
So that was the statement you were making. Were you shocked by their response?
To be honest, I felt a bit bad for the host, but honestly, what were they thinking? I mean, this is the world we live in today. I think we're living in a world where smart people keep their mouth shut because they are afraid to offend idiots' feelings. And I refuse to live in that world. I refuse to, die as a slave. I'd rather fight for something. And, there's that age-old phrase, evil reigns when good people do nothing.
Yeah.
And let's just get on with it. I mean, technology will be there to replace my head if they get it.
So what was maybe through Elon Musk? You never know.
You never know.
So what exactly were the cause of these threats that you were receiving, if you don't mind telling us?
Well, the cause is number one. I think I do a bit of brand reverse engineering, so I coined the term "leave the goats alone." That kind of when. Yeah, well, I think now every time somebody says something a bit off on my profile, my followers throw digital bacon at them, going, "Leave the goats alone," or "Calm down, Akbar," or the various sorts. I call it digitally baconing somebody.
Okay.
But yeah, throwing digital bacon at them.
Yeah.
But look, at the end of the day, on a serious note, I'm not here to harm anybody. Uh, Arabs, Middle Eastern people, they were never Muslim in the first place. It's a very new religion, 720 AD. Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, even Egypt, Coptic Christians, Iran, only recently majority Muslim. They were Zoroastrian before. These countries have been genocided, culturally genocided by Islam. So let's understand that they had diversity, that they had a plethora of religions and beliefs that got completely genocided by Islam. Okay, we're not going after these people. They have been corrupted by an evil system, and we're trying to lift the sword. Their ancestors were turned to Islam by the sword. It's called the sword verse, jihad, dawah. So, as just decent human beings, we're just trying to lift up the sword. We're not telling them you have to leave. We're just lifting that sword up and going, look, here are the facts. Let's stop the brainwashing, and you can make your own decision. Now, if you're so thoroughly inbred, which a lot of Islamic countries, unfortunately, they are. I think 65% of British Pakistanis are inbred, having sex with their first cousins. Now, this is done by our National Healthcare Service. It's a study. It's called the Bradford Study, NHS. So, top tier liberal institution, whatever. They reported over 65% inbreeding. It's like, come on, guys. Like, you couldn't make a worse brand image of yourself. Honestly.
That's so crazy.
Well, and you are, you think you're speaking to us, you're here in the United States. You just told us before the show you're getting ready to head back to is it Australia that you're heading to?
The UK.
The UK, sorry. So your arrest is imminent for saying the things that you've said. There is no free speech at all there, according to this, right?
So 12,000 people are arrested in the UK every single year for social media posts. That's more than Russia and China, like combined.
Wow.
And it's because we have a Home Secretary called Shabana Mahmood. She's now. I know it sounds like a very British name, Shabana Mahmood. And Shabana Mahmood is the Home Secretary in charge of political oversight of MI5, MI6, James Bond, shit, and the police. So why are the police doing all this shit?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, who's the head of the the snake in the grass? And we say the extremist Muslims are the snake in the grass, and the moderate Muslims who hide the snake are the grass.
That actually makes sense when you put it that way.
And we've been talking about this on our national show, Open Mic. We're going to touch on it too on our local show, Coastal Conservative News. But here's why, to our viewers, here's why we're bringing this to you, because just pad your feelings right now. We're adults. You're going to be okay. You can rock yourself to sleep later tonight. We want to have this discussion largely, big bacon, because what we're seeing in this country, in certain pockets of this country, is an extreme form of, I guess you're going to call it, we'd call it Islamification of the United States. Right. And it is in direct violation with our state constitutions and obviously our founding constitution. So you cannot serve two masters. You cannot have two forms of law that contradict each other. And we want to sort of, cast the light on something that's taking place in this country. Sometimes we look over to England and across the pond and we say, look at what's taken place over there, because it's a foretelling of what will come here. That happened with transgender surgeries. That happened with open borders. It all came to this country as well. So we're kind of screaming from the hilltops.
We're seeing Dearborn, the complete takeover of Dearborn, Michigan, with Islamic radicalists, and then we're seeing it happen in Texas with this building of this epic city, and where you have a lot of people that are coming out from the community demanding that the legislature do something about this.
Yes.
But then it's happening here in Florida with education savings accounts, because nobody thought about it ahead of time. So these are the unintended consequences of just some of the legislation that's been passed. But when we see people like you, and you're from a different country across the water, and you're like, hey guys, this is what's happening over here. I'm bringing it to you in this way. And while a lot of times it comes across as, oh, you're just being funny, it's comedic, but we also have somebody here named Alex Stein who literally does the same thing. We've seen moms come in dressed as cats and bring litter boxes and say, okay, so now I can utilize the litter box in front of you because you're allowing litter boxes in my kids' classrooms, and I identify as a cat, so you can't call me a human.
Well, it makes sense. You're
right.
Yeah.
You're bringing attention to the issue with shock value. And I think there is a place for that. There has to be a place for that, because we've been talking about this until we're blue in the face about certain issues, and it doesn't stop. It's very interesting.
Absolutely. So I want to ask you to follow up on that. Do you think that, for example, here in our country, the First Amendment, do you think that freedom of speech is there a buffer? Is there a place where it's not allowed to be exercised? Do you think there's such a thing as going too far?
Well, you can't really scream bomb in a plane, but listen, for everything else, I err on the side of freedom is absolutely the way to go. And if you can't discuss and criticize each other, then we're in deep shit. And
I agree.
And yeah, maybe there is shock value, but there's real facts in what I do try to say. So I try to be entertaining. For example, did you know a fact of eating bacon reduces the chances of you marrying a 6-year-old by 98%. But there are 50 Muslim countries around the world. Why the fuck would you come to the West if you want to live on the Sharia law?
Right.
So,
it doesn't make sense.
Because
we're not going over there doing the same thing
and telling you that you have to, maybe
liberate your women. Right? We're not going over there doing that.
Yeah.
We're not saying that you have to bend the knee to Christianity. We're not saying that we need to come and build churches in your county or in your state or in your community. We're not doing that. That's not what we're doing. But you guys are doing it over here, and it's obviously failed over there. You're not allowed to have the call to prayer out in public like that. You can have the call to prayer actually happen, and then you pray in your own home. You're not allowed to do it on the outside because it is disturbing the peace or disturbing everybody else's movement. But yet you're doing it, you're forcing your way in American cities. That doesn't make any sense. Go home and do that.
So
they're doing it in Japan.
Go ahead.
They're going into the middle of roads in Japan.
Wow.
Their arse is up in the air. It's like nobody wants to see that. Again, it's just ridiculous. I mean, it's the only religion that behaves so awfully. Christianity, you've got a nice, lovely man. You got, Jews, they've got their own very old 3,200-year-old religion. Buddhists, they worship the Buddha. Nobody's harming anybody apart from Islam.
Yeah.
So what do you say to people who say that your message is just simply anti-Muslim and that they're afraid that what's going to happen is there will be violence carried out towards people who are of the Muslim faith? What do you say to that?
I say I'm anti-pedo worshipping. So if you're worshipping a leader who has sex with a 9-year-old, okay, and thinks it's okay to marry a 6-year-old and has sex slaves after 83 wars of conquest, genociding the poor people of Middle East, turning countries that had such diversity and now is under the black flag of Islam, then I say this: what are the consequences if we don't start speaking up now?
Right.
If what are you going to tell your children when Islam is taking over? You can tell your daughter, Daddy, what were you doing when Islam was taking over? Oh, I was sorry. I didn't want to do anything because I don't want to be called an Islamophobe. It's like bullshit. No, I'm going to speak up now, make your peace, and say what you need to say before the right to say something gets taken away from you. That's Christopher Hitchens. I'm your Timu Christopher Hitchens.
Timu Christopher. I love that. So and I love that you've put it so eloquently, because in our discussion in bringing you on to the show, one of the things that I know went through our minds, and in this conscious decision, because we've seen people be deplatformed and canceled for doing this very thing, but you're right in step with at least what we believe with being able to exercise your free speech. Here's the thing that I know was on my mind before bringing you on. When people talk about, you're going to just stir up hate and you're going to just stir up some kind of violence, I can't think of a more violent act than forcing a 6-year-old to get married to you
Right.
and a 9-year-old to have sex with you.
Right.
That is the violence that we're standing unified against. Now, if somebody in the Muslim religion would like to stand up and say they don't believe in that and they can point to a different book, I'm all ears, because largely in this country you are allowed freedom, not from religion, freedom of religion, and we will defend that absolutely.
Yes.
But you have to think, what is the real violence that we're up against? Is it your feelings because of your faith, or is it the fact that your faith practices open pedophilia?
Yeah. And of course, leave the goats alone to Islam.
It's got to make me laugh at the end. Make sure you put your drinks down.
You know,
Well,
in Scotland, we do say funny gets the fannies. So I was around tubby kids when I was younger. So, you know, being funny is all I really had.
Well, you know what? Sometimes being funny is one of the few ways that we can actually talk about very delicate and difficult topics, because it's not something fun to discuss, obviously. Do you have any, I want to know if you have any words of wisdom to other people that might consider themselves an influencer, or even other platforms like what Ali and I find ourselves on, that are kind of tiptoeing around some of these sensitive topics? What would you say to them?
Look, if you can, this is a very dark topic. So if you can make it somewhat, you can make it somewhat humorous, make it entertaining. It's important that we get the message out there, and not everybody's prepared to hear all the horrendous diatribe around, around Islam, because it's just frankly unbelievable.
It is.
Nobody, and just read the Quran, Hadith, but nobody's going to read it. But it's quite easy to read. I mean, the Quran reads like a blog, to be honest.
That's a good way to put it.
If you're used to Reddit, it's like a very old form of Reddit. It's like tiny paragraphs. They don't make it too difficult. You know, if it was an Asian religion, it'd probably be mega, mega, mega paragraphs. But thank God that Prophet Muhammad was also an ummi, so that means the unlettered prophet. You know. And so he couldn't even bloody read. Very uneducated man. So
Very interesting.
My advice to people who want to become influencers, whatever. For me, I'm just on a mission, which is I don't want my children to grow up under Sharia law or Islam. They can stay the fuck away from my future generations. And all other children who suffer under this, I will fight for your rights to not suffer this bullshit. If you believe in women's rights, if you believe in children, if you believe in a better world for your children, your morality should tell you that it is your duty to speak up against such a violent, hideous, evil system. And that does not mean take down Muslims. Muslims are the ones who suffer the most. They were never Muslims in the first place. These are great countries that date back to Hittites, Phoenicians, Babylonians. They've created beautiful things, and they're good people in spite of Islam, not because of Islam. They've created beautiful, incredible cultures despite Islam, not because of Islam. So let's get that straight for everybody. If you are suffering with this, there's an exodus of Muslims leaving the religion, and we will be around to help lift the sword from your neck, because that is why your ancestors turned Muslims. So we will be there for you.
And it is radical Islam that tore down a lot of the cultural history in the Middle East. And that's why they don't have a reference to the time when they were not Muslim.
When they were free.
What radical Islam does.
Absolutely. You look at the people that have largely fled the Middle East, especially Iran. They come to this country, especially the women, and they talk about what that was like in the 50s and 60s, largely before this influx of radical Islam took over their country. And I mean, it doesn't
that
even.
Country should have a second name. Their second name should be Away.
Iran.
I ran away.
I ran away.
So
wow. You know what? You come up with that on the fly. And here's my thing. If that network, Sky News, would have given you any time at all, you have a wonderful message.
You really do.
It is a message of liberation. We should all be for that, right?
Women's rights, children's rights, anti-slavery. You hit all the notches.
I kind of wanted to say to all Asians that we need to start supporting our Western brothers. If you are a Korean, you should be grateful you're not speaking Japanese. And there's only one reason for that. That is because of the West. They gave their lives to save us. And Pakistanis and Indians and these kind of Asians, Southern Asians, stop complaining about British colonization, because Hong Kong and Singapore were former colonies of the British Empire, now economic superpowers. The only difference between us and Pakistan is their shit culture. Stop complaining. These are the people that are ashamed of nothing and offended by everything about their past. But for us, we are the Asians who are ashamed of everything and offended by nothing.
Gotta have thicker skin, definitely. I think it's shocking that I'm partially upset that you're not allowed to do more of what you do, especially in this country. We could use people like you to embrace these types of conversations. If people can get, listen, people will buy.
I might be on Ampest, so if they
well,
have me,
you're welcome here in Florida anytime.
People will spend.
People will spend billions of dollars to read smut books in this country and then claim that they're offended by bacon. People will spend a lot of money to go see the next Fast and whatever with piss poor language and the hypersexualization of women, but they'll be offended by bacon. And I think this is the conversation we need to have. Everything else is a distraction.
You say women shouldn't have to wear a burqa.
Or a mask during COVID. What the hell was that? It was like the biggest experiment to see, can those American women cover up? Let's see what they can do. The heck we will. Eliante. I want to thank you so much, Ryan Williams, for coming on our show. And can you let our viewers know how they can help you and where they can follow you? Because we'd like to follow what you're doing.
To be honest, I just want to have more conversations.
Okay.
Let's just be real. This face is rather odd, so it will turn some heads. So look, if we were all in a room together, it'd be the freaking United Nations. I mean, they've got no chance to have lazy racist arguments saying that you're white supremacist. It's not going to work. We need to take out these lazy, stupid rebuttals that they have and start turning the tide. And you can find me. I'm at the Scottish Korean, or Twitter is Korean Scott. Or just type in Big Bacon or leave the goats alone. I'll be lingering around somewhere. But to be honest, I'm happy to come on to shows. If I'm not in jail, I'm happy to just come meet you guys. I like ice cream. Just whatever. Just let's meet up. I don't drink. So
That's good. That's okay.
I'll have one of your floats, the root beer floats.
The root beer float. Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
yes, because I think we definitely want to continue the conversation. Obviously, once this hits, I'm sure we'll have some rebuttals from people. And I look forward to that because let's face it, it's all a part of the dialogue. We had somebody that we treasure very much in this country. I think he's treasured across the globe, Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated for just trying to embrace in dialogue. And all that did to us as Americans and you as well is want to dive in even deeper to dialogue. The one thing that they're trying to forbid us from doing. So let's promise to talk more. We're going to keep you in our prayers as well. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much. What a lovely bunch. Thank you.
Hey, we're not all bad.
Cheers.
Bye.